Let's talk about some centers on the NHL trade market because we have ourselves some new ammo, I guess you could say. Let's start out with the latest on the Minnesota Wild and what some NHL insiders are talking about in regards to Marco Rossi. We've got two tweets here from NHL Rumor Report from yesterday that I do think are interesting to dive into. We had Frank Seravalli speaking out about Marco Rossi on Bleacher Report, among other sources. Take a look at this. Seravalli speaks out, says that on a Marco Rossi extension, the guy's going to want a deal much closer to the Matt Boldy contract. I don't think the Wild are going anywhere near that number, and of course, they have leverage with the RFA. Day 700 of the same update. Hell yeah! You know, honestly, I cannot hate on NHL Rumor Report for doing the updates in the way that they do, because, let's face it, this is all that's being talked about. If there was more material, if there were more insiders saying more things, we'd have more tweets from this account. But no, they just got to go out there and regurgitate whatever it is that's been talked about, and I, in turn, regurgitate whatever this account goes out there and says. I'm very self-aware here, folks. But Marco Rossi is also self-aware. He is aware as to how talented he really is as an NHL player. 60 points in the most recent season, and he had himself 82 games played, full season's worth of play. He's had 2 full seasons worth of play, posting up 100 total points in the process. And in the postseason, he had 3 points in 6 games, despite the fact that he was demoted to the 4th line. 2 goals, 1 assist. Hey, he is not big. Hey, he's not physical. Hey, he is not a super aggressive dog on the forecheck. That's not going to help you win hockey games in the playoffs. Well, maybe scoring 2 goals in a game will. But I digress. Marco Rossi, 23 years old, still needs a contract, and because of that point production he had last season, it's obvious to see why he wants to get a beefy deal. Now, as for Matt Boldy, the guy whom he feels his contract should be similar to, Boldy in the most previous season had 73 points in 82 games played. The difference is Boldy is 24, so he is a tad older than Marco Rossi. And I apologize, I think you can hear the garbage truck outside my apartment here. They are just pulling up, they are just doing their thing, and it's really loud. My window's closed, by the way, so if you hear anything, that's my bad. Marco Rossi wants to be in that Boldy territory. I don't think he's necessarily there yet, but you can say that because Boldy is a winger and because Rossi is a center, there is some extra value there for the young Austrian. It's just a question as to whether or not you see him fully fulfilling that potential. And for the Wild, it's been very apparent the past few weeks here that they don't. Now, we have ourselves another update in regards to Marco Rossi. This is what Frank Seravalli said on Bleacher Report 4 days ago regarding a Marco Rossi offer sheet. I don't think anyone would be willing to step up and pay. I don't think they could present any number that would scare off the Wild. And this is a challenging spot to be in because the Minnesota Wild, they do have the opportunity to match most offer sheets. And I say that because if you take a look at Puckpedia over here, Minnesota has themselves a pretty reasonable $10.18 million in cap space. They could re-sign Marco Rossi to a $10 million AAV deal. He is the only RFA that needs a contract on this team. The money they have freed up right now is going to be used for Marco Rossi, and that's pretty reasonable cap management, I would say. Any offer sheet opportunity that Rossi would take, it's going to be easily matched by the Wild. And also, what is that going to do for Minnesota, where it's like, yeah, they know this guy is already intent on going elsewhere. He doesn't feel good about the way he's being deployed and all this in Minnesota. It's already been reported that he feels insecure in his long-term future and earning potential because of the way he was deployed by Minnesota this previous year in the playoffs. So, what gives? At the end of the day, though, this Marco Rossi offer sheet update is bleak. It does not look like it's going to happen here, and other NHL teams might just be scared off. Now, let's go out there and talk about another center on the market whose name has been tossed out there in trade rumors. It's Ryan Dixon on Sportsnet.ca yesterday who published this article, 5 potential trade destinations for Flame center Nazem Kadri. This is a really interesting topic to dive into. It goes over how Nazem Kadri and his offensive tools during the time with the Calgary Flames, they've been impressive. And how beyond that, his performance in a distinctly unglamorous category, games played, offers more insight into why he is such a valuable commodity, either to a young Flames team in need of North Stars or a club trying to deal for a proven number 2 center in a trade and free agent market bereft of them. Kadri posted up a career-best 35 goals with the Flames last season. 1 season prior, he had 75 points, the second highest total of his impressive career. Both those numbers were attached to stat lines that read 82 games played, just like his first season in Calgary, where he has yet to miss a contest since signing with the Flames in 2022. The question, of course, is whether or not Kadri's big picture situation and that of the team are too divergent. The former turns 35. The latter is a franchise retooling on the fly in front of a 24-year-old goalie and a collection of other players roughly in that age range. By all accounts, Calgary wants to be competitive again next year, and Kadri would certainly help with that. On the other hand, if the Flames can acquire players in a younger demographic who have the potential to help for the next decade, you can see how moving Kadri might make sense for GM Craig Conroy. Let's go out there and talk about some teams that Ryan Dixon labels could be Nazem Kadri trade destinations, starting out with the Montreal Canadiens. Let's go, baby! The Habs entered the offseason with a throbbing need. That's a particular choice for a verb there. Not a verb, excuse me. Yeah, no, it is a verb, right? The need is throbbing. Okay, I should stop saying that. At 2C, and they have been linked to just about any player who could possibly fill that hole. Oh my gosh, Dixon, bro, what are you talking about? Oh, even his name, man. Even after acquiring Noah Dobson at the draft, Montreal's cache of picks and prospects is such that it would have more than enough powder to get a deal for Kadri done. The Habs have a number of youngsters who have spent a year or two in the AHL and appear ready or almost ready for NHL duty. That might just be the demo that piques Calgary's interest. Of course, Kadri grew up as a Habs fan in southern Ontario and got booed in the Bell Centre when the hated Maple Leafs drafted him 7th in 2009. Maybe Habs fans are ready to make amends. The real question for Montreal backers, would you be okay moving for Kadri even if it means fully putting the Sidney Crosby fantasy to bed? I'd probably say yeah. I don't think any Canadiens fan realistically believes that Crosby is going over to Montreal, but it's just a fantasy, right? It's an interesting idea. The other teams that are talked about here, the New Jersey Devils. That is a really interesting one. The Devils have 2 great centers in Jack Hughes and Hischier, so why not add a third? Kadri as 3C, though? I don't know how I feel about that, man. I think he's way better than that. Carolina, you guys just got Ehlers, Keandre Miller, and everybody else. Please stop. Y'all don't need Nazem Kadri. Colorado Avalanche are listed over here. Get the band back together. Basically, they won the title in 2022. Then they lost Gabriel Landeskog to a knee injury for 3 years and watched Kadri walk out the door that summer as a UFA. Given how perfectly suited to playoff hockey both those guys are, it's no wonder Colorado has managed just a single series victory since both, for different reasons, were torn from the lineup. Landeskog, of course, is coming back, but how much would the complexion of the Avs change if they repatriated Kadri too? Interesting question. And finally, the Toronto Maple Leafs are written about here as a Nazem Kadri trade destination. With all this in mind, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about Nazem Kadri to either the Canadiens, the Avalanche, the Leafs, the Carolina Hurricanes, or the New Jersey Devils? What are your thoughts on the latest on Marco Rossi and the offer sheet? The comment section is your floor. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.